I had a question for you. Do you believe that Palestinians should have equal rights?
I mean, you have to tell me what equal means, and you have to tell me what rights means. Do I think that every human being should be treated with dignity and every innocent person should be treated with dignity? Of course.
Nope.
Should they be
Nope.
made citizens of Israel?
The same.
Is that what you're asking? Should the people who do not have citizenship be made
have.
citizens? The same citizenship rights as I have.
With
Is that what you asked?
full equality, because Palestinians.
So citizenship. Citizenship.
Actually, more than that, because Palestinian citizens have citizenship and more, because Palestinians inside Israel also don't have equality, but should have equality, full equality.
Arabs in Israel have equality. I don't know. I have like no earthly idea what you're talking about. We have Arab Knesset members. We have Arab Supreme Court justices. I got a very gentle breast exam from an Arab physician once. Arabs have plenty of equality in Israel. I think that like if you would ask Arabs in Israel, they would just be like, what are you even talking about? Like Arabs are very successful. Bibi Netanyahu, who I know is like your number one villain on planet Earth, just went to Nazareth and he like was met by a huge crowd of people who were talking about supporting him, right? Because there are actually Arabs out there who want part of the Israeli dream of freedom. But that's not what you're asking. I like how you stuck that in there, though. What you're really asking me is, should people who call themselves Palestinians be made citizens of Israel? No, I don't think that they should be made citizens of Israel. I don't think that it's fair to tie that in with the concept of human rights. I think that you can treat people with human rights and not give them citizenship. That is not apartheid. Apartheid is when you have, when like this person has, there's a water fountain and only the Jews can use it and the Arabs can't use it. This is not apartheid. I think that the apartheid argument is a ridiculous argument. And I don't think that anyone here is dealing with anything remotely like that. Again, what I would do, if you're asking me how I would solve this problem, and I agree that it's a problem that needs to be solved, and no one's happy. No one wakes up in the morning and goes, wow, you know, the Palestinian Authority, they're still not functional, and we have all this big population of people, and we don't know what to do with them, and they don't know what to do with themselves either, frankly. I'm really happy about that. Nobody says that. But at the same time, I don't think that just because people who hate Israel and want to destroy Israel tell us that this is like our thing that we did wrong, makes it our thing that we did wrong. This is something Jordan did. This is something Egypt did. And this is something that they should be part of solving. And the only reason that they are not part of solving it is because they want to be part of the problem and they want Israel to be under the gun. Do I think that people who live in Judea and Samaria who are peace-loving people should be treated that way? 100,000,000%. I don't think that anyone deserves to be treated with violence who is not himself a violent person or a supporter of violence. I certainly don't act that way, and I certainly don't educate my children that way, and I really don't know anyone who does. And I think that, you know, when you talk about Adar, when you talk about the reason that people are anti-Zionist today and becoming anti-Zionist is because Israel is not acting appropriately toward Palestinians, I would take issue with that. I don't think that that's the reason people are becoming anti-Zionist. I think it's because they're getting earfuls of the kind of lies mixed with hate that people like Ariel are spewing in their ear and confusing them with disinformation. I think that most people who come to Israel, you know, incidentally, Hebron is the capital of Judea. It is the second most visited site in Israel. It is a very popular place for religious people, non-religious people, Jews, non-Jews. And I promise you that they're not watching Arabs in zip ties being taken away all day. It's a nice place to live for a lot of people. That. I'm sure you have, Ariel. I'm sure you've seen that, and I'm sure you tell people that it happens every 5 minutes, right? Yeah. In conclusion, Adar, I think that we do have to treat people with decency. I don't think the answer is to give them citizenship. You know, once the war on Israel was about shooting rockets at Israel, and when they saw that that didn't work, they switched gears and said, well, you know, we can't defeat Israel, so what we're going to do is just make them feel like really, really bad people. And we're going to suggest to them that the people who were attacking them like 42 seconds ago are now people that are not being treated well by them, and they have to be given citizenship, and they have have to be given what Ariel calls equal rights, which is basically control of the state of Israel. And I don't buy it, and I don't think anyone else does either.
Ariel, would you like to respond?
Well, I don't think it's that they're being fed misinformation. We just heard it right from the horse's mouth that all people born on that land, living on that land, indigenous to that land, all people under Israeli rule should not have the same rights. And actually, apartheid has nothing to do with water fountains. Water fountains were an example of Jim Crow apartheid. Water fountains were an example of South African apartheid. Just because Israel doesn't have separate water fountains or separate benches for Jews and Palestinians, just because instead they have checkpoints, they have separate roads, they have separate legal systems, they have separate walkways, does not mean it isn't apartheid. And so again, this is not, Jews are not turning away from blind support for Israel, and Jews are not overwhelmingly beginning more and more to embrace Palestinian rights because of disinformation. You just told us exactly the information that turns Jews away from Israel, that you don't believe that all people should have equal rights, that you believe that demographics need to be controlled so that control can be maintained.
Are you suggesting that the Palestinians don't want their own state? Are you saying that they don't want their own state? And if you are saying that,
the two-state solution,
who did you ask? Who made
Thanks
you the
Israel.
spokesperson for local peoples? You don't live here. You don't know the people here. You don't know what's going on here. You come in from your occupied house in Ithaca, and you like white-splain with your colonialist Western concepts of what governments and peoples are supposed to look like, and you think that everyone around here is like, it's almost like you're a Christian missionary. It's like you come in, we're the heathens, okay? And you come in with your big holy Bible and you're like, come peoples, I will make you human beings. Let me teach you how to run countries. Let me tell you what governance should look like. Let me tell you who should live where. And I say to you, back up. You don't know what's going on here. You are not a representative of the Palestinians. You don't listen when people talk. The Palestinian Authority is constantly saying that they want a two-state solution, They pay millions of dollars every year to the families of terrorists. There was a survey that happened in 2014 after Mahmoud Abbas passed that legislation making people who sell land to Jews punishable by life imprisonment. 65% of people who call themselves Palestinians in that survey by the Palestinian Center for Policy and Survey Research in 2018, 64.4% said they support the death sentence for selling land to Jews. 87.8% said that Palestinians who sell land to Jews should be traitors, should be called traitors. Now, what you're telling me is that those people want to be part of the state of Israel. Is that what you're telling me?
There's already one single state. Israel long destroyed the two-state solution. What I am saying, plain and simple and clear, if you cannot interrupt me this time, what I am saying is that all people living under the same government should have full equality with each other. Very plain and simple. And you said that I don't speak on behalf of anybody. I actually do speak on behalf of the group of Palestinians in your city of Hebron, the Youth Against Settlements group, Palestinians who are indigenous for many, many, many generations, back in the old city of Hebron, Palestinians who are holding onto their land with every bit of determination, with every bit of samud that they have. I know you know where the Youth Against Settlements Center is, and I actually am speaking on behalf of them with their permission. And yes, they would like some equal rights and freedoms.